As a reminder, thank you, Mr. Feeney, for adjusting that. As a reminder, if you just arrived, we're working on our math review right away. It is important that we begin to log in at 8:40 every day, because we're going to start with a little bit of a game to get us warmed up, and then we are going to check homework. If you did not log in at 8:40 today, that is okay. We will check in with you later, but please make sure that you are starting to log in at 8:40. Right now, we're going to take 3 minutes to work on this review. Silent pencils to paper the entire time. Phoebe, put your hand down. Please chat a teacher if you have a question. Xavier, the answer to your question is yes. Minute and a half left. Make sure you're working urgently on your review. Daniel, please do what's on the screen. Nasia, please look at your chat.
Shout out Kareem, all 3 right.
All right, so we're going to pause right there. Mr. Feeney, if you can stop sharing your screen. Thank you so much for doing that. We are going to have a guest teacher for just a moment. Anasia is going to tell us the correct answers. Anasia gets +5 bonus points for having all 3 correct. Anasia, go ahead and share out those answers and everybody check what you got.
For number 1, I got 80 centimeters. For number 2, I got 36 centimeters. And for number 3, I got 36 centimeters also.
Sorry, give me a thumbs up if you got all 3 correct. One minor edit to that. We want to make sure that we're saying centimeters cubed, because it's not centimeters. Centimeters are flat, but centimeters cubed fills up a space. But excellent job, Anasia. You got those 5 points for having excellent answers. All right, everybody can put your hands down. Get back in Scholar. Remember, either your hands go on your lap or they have to stay still by your side. Make sure that your eyes are locked into the screen. Today, we are going to continue talking about volume. The good news is that this is one of those practice days. Jacob, your hands are done. This is one of those practice days where you have an opportunity to really just focus on nailing what we already know. So we're going to do a quick review of the two formulas for volume, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into practice. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Rivka, put your hand down. If you have a question, please chat a teacher. Remember the raising hand feature, either raising your physical hand or raising the hand on your screen, is only for answering questions. If you have a question for a teacher, then please feel free to go ahead and chat that to a teacher. You're not able to chat each other, but you are able to chat a teacher who is happy to help you. Okay, so, give me just a second. Something is wrong with my document camera. Okay, great. While we're pulling that up really quickly, I apologize about that delay. Let's go ahead and everybody think, what are the two formulas that we used yesterday for volume? I've got an example here of two different problem types that we would need these two different formulas. Let's do the first one over here. So on the left-hand side, Daniel, please unmute yourself and tell me what the formulas would be for here.
For the left, it would be base times height.
Evaluate. Bella agrees, Rivka agrees. Excellent, that's exactly right. It would be base times height. Keenan, how did he know that we were going to use base times height over here?
He knew we was going to be doing base times height here because we see that 4 is the height because you already put 8 inside, and when we know that when we're looking for length times width, we're gonna count from the top, and we know that the base is 8, and then we know that since it's not there, it's gonna be the height is 4, and that's how we're gonna see base times height.
Okay, perfect, great job. So then this formula over here, and go strong silent hand, you can use the raise your hand feature. Derwin, go ahead and unmute yourself and tell us this formula for this side.
Length times width times height.
Derwin, how did you know that we were going to do length times width times height on this one?
I knew that because there's a 3, which is the, there's a 7, which is the height. There's the 1, which I think is the width.
Please turn off your sounds unless you are Derwin.
And then there's the length the 3 that is the length.
Great, that's exactly right. Okay, so we're going to do a really quick practice problem, and then we're going to jump into our independent practice. We do number 1 says, a fish tank at the aquarium has a height of 12 feet, a width of 4 feet, and a length of 11 feet. What is the volume? First thing I need to do is think about what the question is asking me. Let's jump over to Leona. You're sitting an excellent scholar. What is this question asking me to do?
We do number 1 is asking you to find the volume.
Great, it's asking me to find the volume. And Leona, go ahead and stay where I can hear you. What is the information that I'm gonna need, Leona, in order to solve this problem?
You are going to need the length, the width, and the height, or the base and the height, which is the length and the width, which is the area.
Great, that's exactly right. So what do I have? In this instance, do I have base and height, or do I have length, width, and height? Leona.
You have length, width, and height.
Excellent. So that's what I'm going to need. Remember, every time we think, hold on just a second, you can mute yourself now. Every time we think to ourselves, what is this question asking me, and what information do I need to solve? Now that I know what information I need to solve, I'm going to go ahead and hunt down that information in my problem. Lasana, what are these numbers? What's my length, my width, and my height?
Your length is 4.
Read that again.
Your length is 11.
My width is
4.
and my height is
12.
Great. Everybody go ahead and write down the equation that would help me solve this problem, this specific problem. What equation am I going to need? Take about 10 more seconds. Haley, what equation would I use to solve this?
You have to do 11 times 4 times 12.
Great. Volume equals 11 times 4 times 12. Excellent job. Okay, you can mute yourself if you didn't already. Okay, so now that I know what my equation is, I am ready to solve. I'm going to go ahead and label that length, width, and height. Pencils to paper. Solve we do number 1.
She's
30 more seconds. Great job to those of you who have finished.
Sorry, one more time. Is Derwin, please ignore the chat that I just sent you. That was for Javion.
hello.
Okay, we're back in Scholar in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So the answer that I got for this is 528 feet. Evaluate. Christian Lascano, why are you disagreeing with me?
I disagree because you said 528 feet, which is flat, and we're measuring rectangular prisms, which is a 3D shape, and we have to make it. It has to be cubed to make it.
Christian, plus 15. Great job. I thought I was going to trick every single one of you, but Christian caught it. Remember, when we are measuring volume, we are always measuring in cubic units. Say it out loud, even if I can't hear you. We're always measuring in
Cubic unit.
units.
Oh.
Great. Turn off your volume. Okay, so the correct answer to that is 528 feet, or sorry, feet cubed. What we're going to do now is everybody is going to do we do number 2 on your own, but we're actually going to check it in our small groups. So go ahead and start solving we do number 2. And then in just a moment, we are going to go to our groups and we are going to check it with each other.
Wait, stop.
Hello.
All right, if you're still working, keep working, but we're going to go ahead and move into our breakout rooms and start discussing our answers. Okay, if you're still in here, I'm still putting you in groups. Just hang tight for a second. Please make sure if you have to leave that you just turn your camera off, but don't leave the group. That'll help save time on these breakout groups. Hold on, Fanta, I'm still working on it. Sarah, whose group are you in?
Miss Christina.
Okay, give me just a second. All right, have fun. All right, good morning, guys. Did everybody get a chance to finish We Do number 2? Thumbs up if you finished. Greg finished. A couple of us are still working. Okay, so I'm going to put We Do number 2 up on the board. Greg, why don't you go ahead and do a try 2 while you're waiting.
Hmm, 24.
Let's take about 20 more seconds and get our answer to this.
Same.
This one's kind of tricky.
Then
Okay, so first of all, who can tell me what is the volume of the entire fish tank?
you. Oh,
Go ahead,
yeah.
Amadou. What is the entire fish tank?
Matter of fact, never mind.
Okay. Haley, what is the volume of the entire fish tank?
10,500.
10,500. That's +5 for Haley. Great job. Okay, and then what is the volume of the space that is full? So Amadou, you should have just said it then. What's the volume of the space that is full? Did anybody calculate that? Great. Ryan, sit up, please. What's the volume of the space that is full?
I got 10,476.
Okay, that's not quite right. Remember, we have to use the length, the width, and then the height of the space that is full is 24, not 35. Greg, what did you get for that? Unmute yourself.
So for how much is fold, I put
126,000.
Okay, that's not quite right. So let's actually do it. So for the space that was the whole tank was 20 times 15. Stop writing and put your eyes on the screen, even if you're not done. Was 20, 15, and 35. But for the space that is full, I have to do 20 times 15 times 24. So first, I'm going to split my page and do some work over here. 20 times 15. 20 times 15, 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 2 is 10, then I put a 0, 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 2 is 2, so that's 300, and then I have to do 300 times 24. 4 times 0 is 0, 4 times 0 is 0, 4 times 3 is 12, then I put a 0 as a placeholder, 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 3 is 6, and it's 7,200. So I know how much is the whole tank, and I know how much is full, but my question asked how much is not filled with water. So how would I use these numbers to figure out how much is not full, Mariama?
What you need to do to figure out how much it is not full is that you need to
Sorry, I apologize. I thought you guys could see all that. I'm so sorry. If I know that 10,500 is the whole tank and 7,200 is what's full, how do I figure out how much is not full, Mariama?
I think you need to use 24.
Mariama, it's a check. Please pay attention. Put your eyes on the camera and listen closely. This is a simple question. Amadou, how would I figure out how much is not full if I have a whole tank and I know how much is full?
You would figure out how much is not full by subtracting it by how much since you already know how much is filled, you're gonna have to.
What would my equation be? You're right, it'd be subtraction. What would the equation be?
I think it would be 7,200 subtracted by 24.
Where are you getting 24 from? Amadou, it's a check. This should be a simple question. Haley, go ahead. What's my equation?
We would have to do 10,500 minus 7,200.
Great.
And
Hold on just a second. For those of us who did not know this equation, it's because we're not visualizing. All you have to do is picture the whole tank and then the amount that's full. So it'd be just like this. This is a whole tank. This is the amount that's full. And then this is what I'm trying to figure out. So I would just do the 10,500 from the whole tank minus the amount that's full, and that will give me what's left over. So then when I do that, the answer is 3,300. 3,300 centimeters. Agree or disagree? Look at my paper, 3,300 centimeters. What did Christian remind us of in the whole group? Kareem?
What he reminded us is how is the units.
Great, it has to be centimeters cubed. Very good. Okay, everybody sit up tall. Let's get ready to work. We're going to do independent practice. We're going to do number 1 and number 2. Do number 1 and number 2. They're on your screen. If you don't have them in front of you, do it on a blank sheet of paper. I will be checking in with you periodically. You may begin. Can see Amadou is hard at work. Haley is really thinking here. Krista, your face needs to be in the screen. If I continue to not be able to see you today, we will mark you absent. Still cannot see you. Make sure your whole face is in the screen. If you remove that background, that will probably help. Great, that's fine. Nope, now you left again. Make sure I can see your face. Right now I can see the top of your head. I cannot see your face. Krista, if you need to stack something under it to prop it up, then do so. Krista, it's like you're coming in and out. So I would highly suggest just turning off the background that you've created for now until we can get it sorted out. But I have to be, no, like take off the clouds, the background for the clouds. Brandon is focused. Yes, Ryan.
There's no answer for number 2.
Keep working on it. Greg, do try twos. Ryan, you might actually be right. My math might be wrong. Let me double check. Do a try two for number 1 in the meantime. Okay, Ryan, you were actually correct. There is no correct answer for number 2. So we'll just go ahead and go over number 1 and then we will adjust from there. Okay, so Greg, what did you get for number 1?
Number 1, I got 168.
Evaluate. Ryan agrees. Krista agrees. Krista, so much better. I can see your beautiful face now. Awesome. The correct answer is 168. Great. For number 2, I went ahead and put my work up on the screen so you can see it. Let's just talk through. Answer A was 180. Answer B was 70. No, answer B was 100. Answer C was 72. And answer D was 216. I apologize about that wrong answer. Great, so we're going to go ahead and jump over to the next one. We're going to have practice time to probably do, yeah, We can do 2 more problems. So let's do number 4 and number 5. They are on your screen in front of you. Greg, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Can I do something?
Can you what?
Can I go do something?
Yeah, just come back as soon as you can, okay?
Okay.
I see Haley's working urgently. Lasana's putting pencil to paper. Krista seems extremely focused today. Okay, Greg is back, so he's going to get focused. Kareem, put pencil to paper, please. If you're done, you do try twos. Remember, we never stop working. We always have pencil to paper. Yes, Haley.
So number 5, I'm confused because I wasn't here yesterday.
That's okay. So we learned yesterday that one of the formulas for volume was, instead of doing length times height, we could just do base times height. Base is the same as length times height. So the formula would be volume, write this down, volume equals base times height.
Okay.
So to solve number 5, you're going to have to plug in what you know and then figure out what you don't know. Okay? Great. Oh, you're not supposed to see that? Sorry. Give me a second. Okay. Let's go ahead and go over it, actually. So for number 4, the correct answer is 240. I know that because I needed length times width times height. So I did 12 times 4 times 5. 12 times 4 equals 48. 48 times 5, I had to do some scrap work here, equals 240. Let's jump down to number 5. Love it. Greg got the correct answer. Ryan, make sure you're checking your answers. For number 5, Brandon, what was the formula that we had to use to solve number 5?
We had to use to solve number 5 was base times height,
Great. How did you know that it was going to be base times height?
because the length and the width of the rectangular fish tank was basically the base, and that together would make 48, and the volume and the height, which how many?
Wait, we don't know the height yet. We just know the base and the
height. Volume.
The volume, that's exactly right. So I ended up writing my formula, volume equals base times height, because I knew as soon as I see the word base, I know that has to be the formula to use. Base is not in this formula up here, so that can't possibly be my answer. So I know my formula is volume equals base times height, and then I just plugged in what I knew. As Brandon said, I knew the volume was 144, and I knew that the base was 48. But I didn't know my height. In fact, that's what the question is asking me, is what are the possible dimensions of the fish tank? So in order to figure out my height, I have to actually divide. I need to do 144, which is my volume, divided by 48. Does anyone know what 144 divided by 48 is? Ryan, go ahead.
It's 3.
It's 3. That's exactly right. That's what I estimated it was because I know that 48 is close to 50 and 144 is close to 150. And I was actually starting my scrap work when I accidentally revealed to you guys what I was doing for my model. But so I know that that would eventually be 3. So that means that the height must be 3 and the base must be 48. It asked me for possible dimensions of the fish tank, but base is not a dimension. Base is something I've counted. The dimensions are length, go ahead, Krista, width, and height. So I know height is going to be 3. Now I've got to figure out what length and width are. What is something that length and the width, Kareem, put your eyes on the screen. What is something that length and width could be if my base is 48? Remember, it's just what it could be. I see Haley doing some calculating, skip counting. Mariama, what could my length and width be if my base is 48?
I think you're.
What are 2 numbers we can multiply together to get 48?
For 12 times 4.
12 times 4, great. So I'm just going to put these in here. Again, this is possible dimensions. It doesn't have to be perfect. And so that would be my answer. There's a couple combinations you could get, but the height definitely needs to be 3, and the length and the width definitely need to equal 48. All right, that's all we're going to have time for today. We're going to jump back into our big group now. Thank you for working hard today. Great. Okay, as everybody is coming back in, I want to go ahead and wrap up so we can finish on time. Today we got another chance of practicing the volume formulas. What is one of the volume formulas? Just see.
Great job today
in math. Length times width times height.
Excellent. What is the other volume formula, Jaden Cologne?
The other volume formula is it's also I don't remember.
We did length times width times height, and what is the other one, Jesus Herrera?
Base times height.
Excellent. It is base times height. Mix McCauley, do you have a scholar of the block today?
I do. As I've looked around and as I've paid attention, I cannot get one scholar out of my mind, and that was indeed Ray. Ray, you did such an amazing job of setting the tone for us, making sure we all had a model to look towards. Thank you so much for your hard work, your perseverance, and your dedication. Can't wait to give you more accolades later today. Over to you, Ms. Phelps.
Great. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Ray. You will be earning a lot of extra bonus points. Okay, so what we're now going to do is move into a break. You are either going to be meeting with your breakout teacher in a small group to go over your reading, or your teacher may be calling you. If your teacher has not asked you to come to a group and you can stay in this group, please do so. If you can stay in this group, you do not have to stay physically at your computer. You can go take your break, but it's important for our breakout groups that we stay in the group if we can. You can turn your camera off, you can turn your volume off, and you can go have a break, but just stay logged in if you can. If you cannot, that's okay, we understand. Mix McCauley has one more thing to say.
Sorry, I just wanted to reiterate that I want to see Itzel, Rama, and Rivka, and Phoebe in my room during this break.
Excellent.
The same room
Okay.
we used yesterday.
And Ms.
Right.
Phelps?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps, some of the kids in my group are having trouble accessing the packet, so I wanted